November 2nd, 2025. The Caribbean Sea lay in absolute silence beneath a black horizon. USS Knights, an Burke-class destroyer valued at $2.5 billion carrying 1,000 sailors, was on a routine humanitarian mission, assisting two civilian oil tankers reporting engine failure 34 nautical miles off the Venezuelan coast. But in Caracas, officials declared it a U.S. invasion. The order followed: engage immediately. Minutes later, Venezuela's frigate Bolívar 213, a $750 million warship armed with 20 Chinese-made C-802A anti-ship missiles, launched 12 rounds toward USS Knights. The ship's commanders believed raw firepower meant victory. They were catastrophically wrong. The intercept begins. Routine turns deadly. At 4:18 a.m. on November 2nd, 2025, the USS Knights moved silently through the dark waters of the Southern Caribbean. As a $2.5 billion Burke-class destroyer carrying 1,000 sailors, it was conducting a routine patrol. Its mission was simple: to assist two civilian oil tankers reporting engine trouble to the south after receiving distress messages from stranded crew members. It was standard procedure, nothing more than an act of professional maritime courtesy in international waters. However, inside Venezuela's coastal command center near Puerto Cabello, a single flash on the radar screen changed everything. A fast-moving contact appeared 34 nautical miles off their coast, legally permissible yet politically explosive. Within 90 seconds, senior officers labeled it an intrusion. A U.S. warship is approaching the territorial boundary, the report read. Admiral Rafael Morales, known for his uncompromising directives, did not hesitate. He ordered an active interception. Bolívar 213 launches, the point of no return. His response: deploy Bolívar 213, a $750 million Venezuelan warship launched at high speed. It was equipped with 20 C-802A anti-ship missiles manufactured by China, each capable of flying at Mach 2, skimming the sea just 5 meters above the surface. These missiles were designed to sink aircraft carriers. A single one could tear a destroyer in half. Aboard the Knights, radar operators detected the Venezuelan ship accelerating. 12 nautical miles, then 22, then 26 in less than 4 minutes. Racing straight toward them, the commanding officers ordered clear, calm radio transmissions in both English and Spanish. Venezuelan Navy vessel, this is USS Knights. We are operating in international waters. Silence. No response, no acknowledgement, only the radar return. Brighter, closer, more deliberate. Missile strike and 12 warheads incoming. At 4:32 a.m., without warning or negotiation, Bolívar 213 launched 12 anti-ship missiles in a coordinated attack. They roared across the water, skimming at a deadly low altitude. 12 warheads, each carrying 165 kilograms of explosives, speeding toward the U.S. destroyer. This was not a misunderstanding. This was not caution. This was a deliberate act, a decision that pulled the Caribbean to the brink of war. The moment the 12 Venezuelan missiles tore across the sea, Commander Ethan Cole did not blink. With more than 3,000 hours of combat command experience, he knew hesitation would kill them all. Aboard the USS Knights, the Combat Information Center sprang to life. Red lights flashed. Alarm sirens screamed down the steel corridors. Every sailor knew what that sound meant. Missiles incoming, 12 of them, closing at nearly 1,500 miles per hour. Aegis defense, 20 interceptors launch. He planted himself on the bridge, his voice cutting through the chaos. Activate the Aegis Combat System. All batteries online. Fire control alpha. Engage. Within 5 seconds, 20 SM-6 interceptor missiles launched from the destroyer's Mk-41 vertical launch tubes, streaking into the Caribbean sky at Mach 3.5. Each interceptor was a $4 million guided dart, steered by an AI-enhanced radar array capable of locking a supersonic target within 1.5 seconds of detection. The first intercept occurred just 12.7 nautical miles from the ship's hull. Then another and more followed. Each C-802A was successively erased in midair, exploding in dazzling flashes like artificial lightning over the Caribbean Sea. The crew counted 11 out of 12 Venezuelan missiles torn apart in the sky, bursting into blazing spheres of fire. Impact: one missile breaks through. But one missile broke through. At 4:37 a.m., the final C-802A slammed into the Knights' aft repair deck, detonating at the waterline. The blast ripped open part of the maintenance bay, shearing away backup hydraulic assemblies, steel fittings, and electrical pallets like shrapnel. A wave of heat and overpressure washed across the deck. Fuel tanks ruptured, producing a fireball burning at 1,400 degrees Fahrenheit, 730 degrees Celsius. 2 sailors were trapped within the blast radius, suffering third-degree burns. 10 others were wounded by flying debris, including a petty officer who lost hearing in his left ear. Within 40 seconds, damage control teams Bravo and Delta sealed the deck. Firefighting systems activated, and CO2 foam was sprayed into the area to smother the blaze. Medical personnel carried the wounded out amid the wailing alarms. Despite the chaos, the ship held. The Knights' armored hull, reinforced with Kevlar cladding, absorbed the impact. Power remained online. Propulsion remained functional. The Knights, wounded but alive, continued to fight. Washington responds. Operation Steel response. From the Combat Information Center, encrypted video and sensor data streamed directly to the Pentagon via secure satellite link. By 5 a.m., real-time footage of the missile strike was playing on screens inside the White House Situation Room. Flames, smoke, the stars and stripes flickering above a scarred deck. President Trump watched the blaze light the ship's deck. In the corner of the room, General Robert Hastings, Chief of Naval Operations, leaned forward and spoke words that changed the tone of the morning. "They fired on our ship without cause. This is not a mistake. This is a declaration." In that instant, a $2.5 billion destroyer had survived the unthinkable. Washington's patience had not. The orders were clear, ready to respond. The next move would not be defensive, it would be revenge. The counterstrike begins. USS Mason deploys. At 5:45 a.m., the smoke aboard the USS Knights had cleared, but Washington's anger had not. Inside the White House Situation Room, intelligence screens showed a smoking deck, 2 wounded sailors, and irrefutable evidence. The attack was deliberate. President Donald Trump signed an emergency order under Article 51 of the United Nations Charter. Restore deterrence. Do not escalate beyond the shore. The Pentagon's codename, Operation Steel Response. At 5:48 a.m., an encrypted order was sent to the USS Mason, another Arleigh-Burke-class destroyer positioned 170 nautical miles east of Barbados. Its mission, steam west toward the Delta Caribbean area at high speed and prepare to engage. At the same time, at Naval Air Station Cecil Field, Florida, 2 F-35C. Lightning IIs launched into the dawn. Each carried 6 AGM-158C LRSM missiles, each worth $3.8 million and capable of striking targets up to 300 miles away. Their total load, nearly 2,000 pounds of precision-guided warheads, was now pointed at the Venezuelan coastline. The trap is set. Tomahawk decoy. At 7:10 a.m., the Caribbean horizon burned orange, not from sunrise, but from the shadow of war. The USS Mason had reached the 34 nautical mile line off the Venezuelan coast, where the boundary between restraint and retribution had vanished. Aboard, 250 sailors stood at full combat readiness. This was not diplomacy. It was a chess match played with missiles. The Venezuelan frigate was now racing west toward La Guaira at 33 knots. Its radar crew, still cautious of other threats, detected a strange signal nearby, but they were confident in their final layer of defense. That confidence showed on their faces. Laughter was said to echo through the comms room. They had no idea they were walking into a trap. In a multi-layered deception maneuver at 7:18 a.m., the Mason fired 7 Tomahawk Block 5 missiles, not to destroy, but to provoke. Each $2 million cruise missile flying at 550 miles per hour blazed bright and obvious, designed to draw the enemy's full attention. And it worked. The trap had sprung. The Venezuelan response, depleting defenses. The Venezuelan defense teams panicked, launching 14 surface-to-air missiles in under 85 seconds, nearly 70% of their remaining air defenses. Sensors confirmed it. The missiles had exploded. Radar officers cheered. They thought they had won. They never saw the ghosts descending from above. At 7:21 a.m., high overhead at 45,000 feet, 2 F-35C Lightning IIs dropped into full stealth mode. Their heat signatures masked, radar profiles near invisible. They sliced through the sky like phantoms. Each fighter released 6 AGM-158C LRSM missiles, each capable of locking onto the ship's thermal signature from more than 200 nautical miles away. 12 missiles flying at Mach 2.5 streaked toward the unsuspecting Venezuelan warship. Total destruction, Bolívar, 213 obliterated. At 7:23 a.m., all 12 struck within 3.8 seconds. The first warhead vaporized the bow. 2 more collapsed the flight deck. The 5th detonated beneath the bridge, killing 14 command officers instantly. The final missiles exploded below the waterline, a combined blast equivalent to 2,500 kilograms of TNT. The Bolívar 213, once the pride of Venezuela's navy, was now a ball of fire, split in half, steel twisted and burning, sinking slowly into the Caribbean depths. Over 120 sailors were thrown into the sea. At least 60 were missing within the first hour. By 7:30 a.m., all was silent. Then the transmission came. This engagement is concluded. No further hostile intent. Presidential address. Trump's response. At 3 p.m., President Donald Trump addressed the nation from the Roosevelt Room. America does not seek war, but we will never apologize for defending our people. Those who mistake our silence for weakness will regret their calculation. The message reverberated across the world. Global markets dipped 1.8%. Oil futures surged past $114 per barrel, the highest since 2022. Military analysts called it the shortest naval war in modern history. 12 minutes from launch to destruction. 0 American deaths, 1 frigate erased, and an entire doctrine rewritten. In Caracas, silence reigned. No official statement for 36 hours. No morning broadcast. State television played patriotic music over footage of calm seas, but the people knew a fleet had fallen, and with it the illusion of control. Restraint over rage. By the end of that day, November 2nd, 2025, the Caribbean returned to silence. But beneath that calm surface lay a scar that satellites could not capture and words could not erase. The water where Bolívar 213 sank shimmered like glass under the dying sun. A mirror reflecting the cost of pride. The numbers would later speak louder than any speech. 12 missiles launched, 20 interceptors fired, $900 million lost, 137 sailors dead or missing, and a conflict that lasted less than 15 minutes from first launch to final silence. Yet the consequences rippled across the hemisphere. Insurance markets froze. Oil tankers rerouted hundreds of miles away. Regional militaries went on alert. If you value this kind of analysis and want to keep uncovering the real lessons behind today's conflicts, make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Your support helps us continue bringing you the untold stories of modern warfare.